Washington Grown is brought to you by the Potato Farmers of Washington. Learn why Washington is home to the world's most productive potato fields and farmers by visiting potatoes.com. And by the Washington State Department of Agriculture, supporting the viability and vitality of Washington agriculture. And by Northwest Farm Credit Services, supporting agriculture and rural communities with reliable, consistent credit and financial services today and tomorrow.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy Goranson and welcome to Washington Grown. When we think of Washington, some iconic images come to mind like apples and mountains and of course, rolling fields of grain. And speaking of grain, this episode is all about Washington's rapidly growing industry, craft beer. Val's visiting Carpenter Ranch Hop Farm and the Yakima Chief Hops Processing Facility.
Feel the difference in the weight?
Yeah,
really fluffy, huh?
Like clouds.
Yeah.
And I'm making the Ellensburg Blue steak at the PUREE.
On the side
Nothing like
here.
steak and potatoes.
I know.
It's the best. Plus, Tomas is celebrating some brew madness with 2 Spokane breweries.
And we call it the fog because that's a nice layer of sweetness in there in the finish.
Or after you've had a few.
It could be. Yeah.
All this and more today on Washington Grown. It's hard when you're as short as I am.
Sheep, come and see Christy, sheep. Sheep.
It's like I can taste the sunshine.
Cheers.
Bring it in. Bring it in.
The calories are adding up.
No calories in this.
You don't get to do this every day.
Looking for something unique, fresh, and exciting? Pop into the PUREE to experience just that. This special spot sits right in the heart of downtown Ellensburg, and they're bringing fresh, fun, fine dining to anyone who wants a taste.
It was just delicious.
Quality of the food is very, very good.
Very, laid back, welcoming.
All kinds of thumbs up.
New things. Our cocktail menu is all scratch ingredients. Our food is all scratch ingredients. We try and do things that is not on anybody else's menu.
Owner Blake Collins wants every dish to be farm fresh, using Washington-grown ingredients throughout the menu.
We have a great relationship with the Washington State Beef Commission. I've gone on tours with them to look at cow-to-calf farms, all the way to feeding, all the way to processing. Yeah. And so we see the entire line, so that way we know exactly where we're getting our products from.
That's important.
Just better. Just absolutely better.
Very rustic, elegant.
One of those marvelously eclectic, tasty surprises.
We're going to be in Ellensburg lunchtime. We're going to be at the PUREE.
Don't miss later in the show when Chef Lacey and I make the Ellensburg Blue steak. Here, get to work.
Absolutely. Today we're in a beautiful field of hops in Granger at Carpenter Ranch. I'm talking with Brad Carpenter, who owns the ranch with his brothers. How does this hop become a glass of beer?
You see that good looking yellow stuff in there?
I do.
That's called lupulin, and that has all the essential oils that bring flavoring to beer. Hops are typically dried in the kiln. We'll take them to the processing unit where they're pelletized. And the pellet form is typically what most brewers will use the hops to flavor their beer. And the fresh hop beer, they take these hops themselves. They'll take a bag of these and they'll pour it right into their vat.
Wait a minute, just right off
right off the
branch
vine,
like you just
yes.
picked, and then they just drop them in.
They just dump them in.
Hops are unique in the way they grow. They split into 2 large vines, so it takes a special setup to support them.
First, make sure you have a big, strong trellis to support the weight of that hop, because that plant grows about 18 feet and it spreads out another 4 or 5 feet. And you see this is a string made out of coconut husk.
Yeah.
The string goes all the way to the wire, and that's where the vine grows around that string all the way up to the top. It's a great plant, a very prolific plant. I mean, to grow 18 feet every year, unbelievable.
Now I'm meeting with Brad's brother, Mike, to tour their processing facility during harvest. To start our tour, we walked through the plant where hops were being cleaned and separated. Next, we went into the kiln where piles of hops were being dried out.
They're almost dry. They've been here for about 8 hours, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Feel the difference in the weight?
Yeah.
Really fluffy, huh?
Like clouds.
Yeah, they're down to about a 9.5 to 11.5 moisture rate, okay? So basically, we still are maintaining the integrity of those lupulin glands.
Right.
That's what the brewers want.
Our final stop of the tour pays homage to all the hard-working brewers that use Yakima hops.
So this is our Hall of Fame for our craft brewers. We're very proud of them.
Wow, I have a lot of homework to do, Mike. I don't know all of these.
Well, you're gonna have to go try them all out, okay?
Try them all out, right?
All right.
What must this have been like for your ancestors 6 generations ago?
You know, that's something my dad always says. He said he'd give anything that my great-great-granddad would be able to come and see what we've done.
Science and technology are amazing.
Absolutely.
It's really a lot more technical than it was when I was a young man. And I think it'll be different 20, 30, 40 years from now.
To end our day, Brad and I are tasting some beer made with Carpenter Ranch hops, starting with a lager.
Cheers, let's take a little taste here.
Oh, I like that. I like everything about that.
Isn't that nice? It's got a little citrusy background to it on the tail end, but yet it's got some hoppy flavor to it.
Now I'm trying an ale brewed with fresh hops. Wow, I like that too.
Do you? The hop flavor in this is from a fresh hop, which is a green hop right out of the hop field. And they have to get in their brew in a matter of 24 hours. We're excited about being involved in the hop industry. It's a lot of fun. A lot of work, but a lot of fun.
I can see that.
Hops really love that dry climate that we have here in the Yakima Valley. Hops are very photosensitive, so they have a photoperiod or a day length that triggers bloom development. So when that day length changes, it's good for good yields because you get more bloom developed. All those factors combine to a great place to grow hops.
And why hops need to be grown in Washington.
Yeah.
Although beer isn't typically what you think of when you hear farm-grown produce, what's coming out of the bottle came straight from the fields of the Palouse. Barley is a huge part of making beer, and here at the Barley Quality Lab at WSU, they're making sure only the best makes it to the table.
If you want a quality malt barley, you have to have the genetics to start, and that's really where we come into play.
Robert Brueggemann is the barley breeder at Washington State University. With this new malt lab, he and the students are able to further research and breed better barley strains.
Our job here is to develop those varieties so that then the farmers have those to be able to plant in their fields. That goes into the grain bins and then to the malt houses where they germinate the grain, get those enzymes going, and then from there it goes to the brewers, and then the brewers do their magic, and then it ends up in your glass as many different styles. The amazing thing is when you look at that grain in a quality malting barley, 80% of that becomes beer. Arguably, barley is the most important ingredient in beer. Barley provides the enzymes and the sugars that actually become the beer, and it also provides some flavor depending on the beer style. So it's a very important, if not the most important component of what is poured into your glass. I'm a molecular biologist, and since I started, things have really changed a lot. I mean, what used to take us 3 years of work to get data, which was basically your whole PhD, the students nowadays with the sequencing tools and the molecular tools we have now can get 3 years of data in my time in a month. So it's changed dramatically. I mean, it's incredible. I got all 3 of my degrees at Washington State University, so obviously this is home. I'm a Coug through and through. And why Washington? We produce quality barley here. I mean, the quality is amazing. When I was in North Dakota State University, the reason they brought me there was to work on disease. We don't have huge problems with disease here. Really, we're in the position here that I was working at North Dakota State to get to.
How much can a hop vine grow during a 24-hour period? We'll have the answer for you right after the break.
Coming up, I'm making the Ellensburg blue steak at the Pearl.
Here, get to work. Absolutely.
And we're in the kitchen at Second Harvest trying out some beef bean beer chili.
So the question was, how much can a hop vine grow in a 24-hour period during the growing season? The answer is, it can grow up to 1 foot in a day.
We're back at the Pearl in Ellensburg. Here, local ingredients lay the groundwork for a unique and flavorful menu, creating something really special.
A great place. I'd come here again.
The quality of the food is very, very good.
It was just delicious.
You can't go wrong with anything on the menu. There's safe choices, there's more adventurous choices, all of it very intentional and all of it very good.
Owner Blake Collins worked as a bartender until a skydiving accident inspired him to start the restaurant he'd been dreaming about for years.
After that accident, it was either stick around and do the corporate thing or take a risk, take out a loan, and come to this beautiful space and give it a try on my own.
Yeah. Very, laid back, welcoming.
Did a really nice job with the preparation. All the vegetables were really well cut, very fresh.
All kinds of thumbs up.
And if you go on our cocktails, people love the Bad Skydiver.
The what is it called?
The Bad Skydiver.
Oh, the...
Gotta make fun of yourself.
Really?
Yeah, you gotta make fun of yourself just a little bit.
One of those marvelously eclectic, tasty surprises.
We're going to be in Ellensburg lunchtime. We're going to be at the Pearl.
We're gonna cook something today with Lacey.
Yes,
right?
We're gonna make the Ellensburg blue steak.
Well, cheers.
Cheers to that.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. Time to head to the kitchen to cook with Executive Chef Lacey Bender. You're putting me to work because you actually need to make the marinade for 15 pounds of steak, right? So what should we do first?
First, I like to start with my vegetables and everything, just to get them chopped and out of the way.
We start by chopping up some jalapenos and having some garlic cloves. Meanwhile, Lacey chops up some cilantro.
Some people don't like cilantro, which I understand because they have a allergic reaction to it, so it tastes like soap.
I feel so unfortunate.
Yeah, but a lot of in the marinade, the combination with the acids and all that kind of stuff, it balances it out.
Here, get to work.
Absolutely.
Next, we add our juices: lime juice, olive oil, orange juice, white vinegar, and soy sauce. Then we put in a spice mixture of salt, pepper, cumin, and chili powder. Finally, we toss in our garlic and jalapenos and blend for about 30 seconds.
If there's chunks of jalapeno and garlic in there, not a big deal.
That's all
like
good.
I said, you're just gonna soak the meat in there overnight, and it comes out super delicious.
We have our steaks that have been marinating for overnight. Oh yeah, those look great.
You can shake some of the stuff off. I like to leave it on there because it adds little flavor crystals.
Of course. Lacey cooks the steaks until medium rare, then begins on the sauce. She browns some bacon bits in bacon fat, then adds some portobello mushroom. Next, she adds some garlic and Madeira. Finally, she turns off the heat and finishes it all off with some gorgonzola crumbles. We cut up the steak and start plating. On the side, we add some potato pancakes. Nothing like steak and potatoes. I know. It's the best. We add some grilled vegetables and top the steak off with the sauce. Finally, we finish the whole thing off with some buttermilk sweet onions.
And that there is our Ellensburg blue steak.
This is enough for 2 people in my mind, but...
You've got the saltiness from the bacon fat, you've got the tanginess from the gorgonzola. It's just a powerhouse of this kind of flavors.
The first thing I noticed is like a smokiness. And that steak is so tender.
Yes, that's the marinade doing its job.
Tangy, and you get that fresh kind of taste to it too.
It's different steps of flavors that hit you in each time you chew.
Absolutely. 100%. You ready for some more?
Yes.
I am. To get the recipe for the Pearl's Ellensburg Blue Steak, visit wagrown.com. Here at Second Harvest in Spokane, Washington, volunteers are working hard getting food prepared to ship throughout the inland Northwest.
The need in the community has just been off the charts.
Eric Williams is the Community Partnership Director at Second Harvest. He tells me that our community's needs have been growing over the last few years.
Last year, we procured and then distributed about 44 million meals. The year before, which was much more average, 2019, it was about 24, 26 million meals. So it doubled, basically, the number of meals that we needed. Now this year, things are a little bit better, but it's still substantially more than what we would call normal, say, in 2019.
Today's Second Harvest is receiving a much-needed surprise courtesy of the Washington Grain Commission.
What the farmers decided to do this year with Second Harvest is to be able to provide our communities with a healthy and nutritious wheat-based product.
Joe Bippert worked with the Grain Commission to make this donation happen. He believes that the organization is built on the idea that we are stronger when we support one another.
I had to work with our farmers to figure out how we could best serve our communities. Really, it was important for them to recognize the need. Utilizing our connections with Second Harvest, we were able to discover that really bread donations and wheat-based donations are lower than usual.
This dip in donations could be due to the recent drought that many farmers have been facing. That willingness of farmers to give back to the community even while facing their own challenges makes donations like these mean so much more.
The ability to get this fresh bread, move it through our system to our partners who then are the front lines in distributing it to really hungry people, it's really heartwarming. We wouldn't be here. A lot of people would be going very hungry if it wasn't for wheat farmers, any sort of farmers. They're the ones who start this whole process of feeding all of us across the United States. So thank you.
Coming up, Tomas is celebrating some brew madness with 2 Spokane breweries.
Cheers!
Bring 'em in! Bring 'em in!
Cheers.
Boom!
Here in Eastern Washington, we are low in water, but that's okay if you want to grow grapes. Grapes are a really drought-tolerant crop, and they're delicious. Growing grapes is really easy to do here. They don't require a ton of water, they just need some well-draining soil, and the nice thing about Eastern Washington in particular is that we're really, really hot in the summer, which grapes love. You can grow grapes in the entire state, but here they're particularly happy. Grapes require 150 days of hot summer heat to produce well. In Eastern Washington, we have about 120 to 150. So to maximize that hot soil, you want to make sure that you're planting your grape in a place that gets a lot of southern exposure and the soil stays really warm. Grapes, as you can see, send off tons of vines. The one thing that you have to watch out for is make sure that your grapes have a lot of support and they're not in a windy area, because surprisingly, these vines are really easy to snap off. So if this catches a wind, these guys will just fall down, which is no fun. So make sure that you've got them secured and that they have a place to sit. Your grape's not going to set fruit for the first few years, but after it is established and it is setting fruit, in about 5 or 6 years, it's going to be beautifully productive for 50 to 100 years, which is wild to think about. So you want to make sure that you're starting it off on its best foot forward so you'll have fruit for years to come. The wonderful thing about having a grape in your own backyard is it provides a beautiful green backdrop to your garden and you get delicious fruit.
Hey everybody, I'm here at Flatstick Pub in Spokane with John from No Lie.
Hello.
And he's here for a very specific reason.
Yep.
You see, back in March, we had a little brew madness going on to coincide with March Madness because we wanted to see who was the best of the best when it came down to local breweries. And so we had all sorts of wonderful breweries from all across the state. And lo and behold, at the end, No Lie stood on top.
Thank you.
That's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's a huge community thing. I mean, if you look, that was a statewide competition where 2 breweries from Spokane represented.
At the end of the contest, the winner was awarded $500 to give to the charity of their choice. No Lie chose Second Harvest Food Bank in Spokane.
We know that there's a huge amount of food crisis during COVID and coming out of COVID. There's a lot of people hurting. This will go a long way, so thank you to everybody in Washington State. Thank you to Second Harvest. Thank you to Washington Grown. Thank you to our community. $500 goes a long way.
It's not just about making beer.
No. We have an obligation and a privilege to serve.
In second place was Hello Brewing, also from Spokane. No Lie teamed up with Hello to celebrate Spokane's growing beer scene.
No Lie reached out to us and he immediately wanted to work together and talk about ways that we can maybe elevate the presence of the Spokane scene immediately. I love Washington hops so much, and it's just great being close to the source. We get them fresher than anything else. For someone small like me, it's really nice to be able to get the hops like the next day.
Now I'm sitting down with Ryan and John to try some of their incredible beers, starting with Hello Brewing.
So this is Julie. This is our flagship hazy IPA.
Cheers, guys.
Salud.
Let me in. Bang.
There it is. There we go. That's nice. It's bright.
Right in the back end, that citrusy, almost like a grapefruit.
Yeah. Some grapefruit, touch of pine from the Columbus hops that we have. You can kind of hang out and drink it for at least 2 pints of it.
At least 2, maybe 3.
Stretch it to 3.
Yeah.
And now we've got the Cascade Fog. Cheers, I love that.
Cheers. Salud.
So we started with a really nice, kind of juicy, hazy yeast strain. Mosaic, Citra hops kind of bring out the vibrancy of it. And we call it the fog because it has a nice layer of sweetness in there in the finish.
Or after you've had a few.
It could be.
Yeah, and it's nice and balanced.
Now let's see what the people of Spokane think about both of these beers, starting with Hello Brewing's Julie.
That's really nice. That's really nice.
It's really like crisp.
It's hoppy, but it's not like overly hoppy.
It's really smooth, really mellow.
I do taste the hops, but it's not like overwhelming.
And the color's really nice.
This is just easy to drink.
You went in for another sip. It's that good.
Yeah, it's that good.
I would drink a pint of that for sure. Or two. Maybe. Now let's try No Lie's Cascade Fog.
I really like that one.
That's really good.
I think it's refreshing and it's like juicy almost.
Oh.
Really like simple, easy to drink.
I like that too. It's a little bit more bitter, but not in a bad way.
No, just
like a nice flavor.
I would definitely drink that on a hot summer's day.
Either way, you're happy with these guys.
Both of them, yeah, plus. Yeah.
But I would drink both of them.
Right.
Often, yeah.
What's going on in Spokane, like with Brian and a lot of other breweries, is just amazing. This is some of the best beers in the world.
Well, Washington-grown ingredients lead to an incredible Washington-produced product.
Yeah.
For both of you guys.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bring them in. Bring them in.
Boom.
We're in the kitchen at Second Harvest Food Bank in Spokane. We're in their teaching kitchen, their cooking kitchen here, and I have our tasters because we're going to taste some food from recipes from allrecipes.com. Tomas is over here.
Hello, everybody.
And Chef Laurence.
Hello, everyone.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure.
This episode is all about beer. Washington is one of the #1 growers of hops in the nation.
Right, and it seems to be growing all the time. I mean, the Yakima Valley is just bursting at the seams, so it is definitely a growing industry.
Yeah, it's a cool looking crop and just really neat how they process it.
It smells so good.
If you like beer, you know, you gotta have hops.
And it's a big community that supports each other too. That's what's really cool. When you saw the segment there with No Lie and Hello,
yeah,
these guys are brothers in arms. There's no competition. It's all about let's help one another and provide a great product for our community.
Yeah, and No Lie in particular gives back a lot to the local community, so we appreciate them. So beef, bean, beer, chili. Say that 5 times fast.
Excellent.
Beef, beer, I can't even say it once.
And we made this one with a Washington Classic beer that you'll see shortly.
Okay, so let's see how we make it. Looks awesome. Steamy hot chili on, well, anytime. I was going to say on a cold day, but really.
Anytime.
A little bit of spice, not too much, but enough.
The beer gives it a little bit of a tang, I think.
A little bit, yep.
Right?
A little bit of bitterness, you know, you can feel the hops. But as a French person, I don't cook too much with beer. In France, most of the region that are using beer for cooking are in Alsace, in the north part of France and east part of France, close to Germany and Belgium, obviously, where they are big beer drinkers and maker. I love beer just for like spicy food.
Yeah.
You know, things that you don't have a good pairing with maybe with wine. It's always nice to have a glass of beer. Asian food is great with beer.
And I love Rainier beer.
Well, you know, as you can tell, I mean, that's the can that we put in here when we made this, and it's subtle. I mean,
Just iconic Washington.
Yeah, and you can change the flavor profile of this. You want something a little bit more robust, use the stout beer. A little bit more hoppy, use a pale ale. You want something citrusy, go with a Blue Moon, something like that. You can really play with the flavors with this, with just the beer.
So some of the comments, absolutely fantastic. You don't even need to top it with anything. I made it exactly as written, except I used venison and it turned out perfect. Chef John rocks.
Yeah,
there you go.
Nice, a little more gamey
venison
flavor.
Would add a whole different flavor profile to it, I think.
Cold fall night, chilling with your bowl of chili.
Yeah, or
a good beer.
Invite the neighbors over and have like a chili cook-off.
There you go. Yeah.
Use this recipe and see what happens.
You might win.
You can find this recipe on our website, wagrown.com. Check out our Facebook and Instagram pages as well. Maybe make the chili and take a picture of it and post it on our social media. We'd love to see it, right?
I would love that, yes.
To get the recipe for this beef bean beer chili, visit wagrown.com. Washington's craft beer industry has spread well past the state's borders, across the country, and around the globe. And if you ask me, that is worth raising a glass or a can to. That's it for this episode of Washington Grown. We'll see you next time.